Today's lesson is Plus Talk, a spur-of-the-moment trip. Hi, everybody. My name is Roger.
And I'm Mike.
And remember, everybody, last time we talked about a spur-of-the-moment trip that Yura is taking with a friend. And yes, indeed, they kind of decided this trip. They decided to take this trip at the last minute, so that's why we're calling it a spur-of-the-moment trip. And they've decided to head down to Kaohsiung. It might not be such a good idea to do that during the summer, during peak season, but still it is possible. But you do need to make some preparations, even if you decided to do this trip the day before you departed. So first of all, Yura booked a hotel room. They got a double room instead of a twin, which is okay. And then also Yura was able to arrange a rental car. And indeed, they're going to have an economy car to save some money. So they're pretty much all set. All they have to do now is make a reservation at a restaurant for dinner. And of course, they're going to participate in a guided tour.
Yes, indeed. That sounds very, very interesting. So let's get to it. I think with the hotel and the rental car all set, now it's time for Yura and her friend to really start enjoying themselves. So let's enjoy ourselves by listening to the first of our two dialogues. 3. Making a dinner reservation. Yura calls a restaurant to make a reservation for Saturday night. Hello, this is Taste of India. What can I do for you today?
I'd like to make a dinner reservation for Saturday night at 7 p.m.
Certainly. And how many people is the reservation for?
2, thanks.
Very good. And could I have a name for the booking, please?
Sure, it's Yura.
Thank you very much, Yura. We have your table reserved for 7 p.m. on Saturday night. We will hold your reservation until 7:10 p.m. If you're running a little late, please call in advance.
Okay, I will. Thanks for letting me know.
大家好，第一部分我们看到名词 reservation， 意思是预约、预定或是保留。像是 I'll make a reservation at the restaurant for 7 o'clock. 我会在餐厅预定7点的位子。或是 This restaurant is usually very busy, so you should make a reservation if you want to eat there. 这间餐厅生意通常很好，所以你想去那里用餐的话，应该预定。另外补充这个字的动词 reserve, R-E-S-E-R-V-E, reserve, 指保留、预留或是预约。举例来说 We should reserve this wine for when we have guests. 我们应该把这瓶葡萄酒留到宾客来的时候喝。或者 The entire venue is reserved for an engagement party this Saturday. 本周六这整个场地被一场订婚派对包下来了。接下来我们看到片语 in advance, 指提前或是事先。例如 To rent this apartment, you have to give the landlord 2 months' rent in advance. 要承租这间公寓，你必须预付2个月的租金给房东。或是 A lot of food has to be prepared in advance before the restaurant opens each day. 餐厅每天开始营业前，都必须事先准备许多食物。另外补充这个片语中的单字 advance， 这个字是名词，指进步或是进展。我们可以说Scientists hope to make advances with the treatment before the end of the year. 科学家希望在年底前，这种疗法会有所进展。
Okay, so again, if you want to have a special meal at a special restaurant, it might be a good idea to make a reservation. In this particular case, it's a dinner reservation. You can make a lunch reservation if you're going to have lunch at a specific restaurant, but here they're making a dinner reservation. at an Indian restaurant. Boy, do I like Indian food. How about you, Mike?
Absolutely. Indian food is a favorite of mine and my wife. We enjoy going out to a nice Indian restaurant. So after reading this dialogue, I think maybe I'll check out this restaurant. But yes, if you are going to almost any popular restaurant on the weekend especially, make a dinner reservation. When you call ahead, book a table, tell them when you're coming, how many people you want to come with, that kind of thing. And then so that when you show up on a busy Saturday night, for example, they have a table there waiting for you, you have successfully made a reservation. A good idea to do, as I said, at popular restaurants and, of course, hotels, things like that. You also want to make a reservation. Call ahead, make sure they are prepared for you so you don't end up waiting or being disappointed. So Yura calls the restaurant to make this reservation. The restaurant manager picks up the phone at the restaurant and says, "Hello, this is Taste of India. What can I do for you today?" A very normal, polite greeting to answering a call at a store or a business. And Yura explains what she would like, what she needs help with. "I'd like to make a dinner reservation for Saturday night at 7 p.m. Yeah, well, that's a good idea because Saturday night, 7 p.m., very popular, could already be full. And certainly if you just show up on Saturday at 7, they might say, "I'm sorry, we have no tables." But Yura's in luck. She's called ahead soon enough or early enough. The restaurant manager says, "Certainly. Yes, that means we do have a table available at that time. And how many people is the reservation for?" In other words, how many people will be eating? They might say, "How many people will be dining this evening?" In other words, how many people should they expect?
Or they might ask, how many people are there in your party?
Ooh, good one, yeah.
Or in your group? And Yura says, 2, thanks. There are 2 people coming, and we're making a reservation for 2 people. And the restaurant manager says, very good. Okay, I understand what you want. And could I have a name for the booking, please? Could I have your name for the reservation? So when you come to the restaurant, you can say, yes, I have a reservation under the name of Wilson or something like that.
Absolutely. And so let's see what name she gives. Sure, it's Yura. So that's what the name she uses. It's Yura. Thank you very much, Yura. We have your table reserved for 7 p.m. on Saturday night. So she used her first name. You could use your family name. You could use the name of the person whose birthday it is. So people arriving who maybe don't know the other people in the group at least know what name to ask for, what table they should be taken to by the restaurant staff. So Yura is the name, and the restaurant manager uses that name in addressing her, and then says, we have your table reserved for 7 p.m. on Saturday night. This is basically just confirming it. They would also maybe read back the time you're expected, the number of people. They might read back your phone number or something like that. This is just confirming all the information, making sure no mistakes have been made. And then they kind of give you a little warning. We will hold your reservation until 7:10 p.m. So basically, we're not going to just hold this table open for you all night. If you're late, if you cancel and you don't call, because some people do that, I think that's very rude. You should always call and cancel your reservation, but some people, I guess, just get distracted or occupied. They don't show up, so they won't hold your table all night. They'll hold it for 10 minutes. That's about normal, 10-15 minutes. So if you're running a little late, please call in advance. When you're running late, that means you're on your way. You're halfway through your journey to a place, but you won't get there at the time you said before. You won't get there at the time people are expecting you. You'll be 5, 10, 15 minutes late. So if you're running a little late, if you're going to get here a bit late, please call in advance. So that's kind of nice. They'll hold the table until 7:10. I guess if you called around 7:09 and said, oh, we'll be there at 7:20, they would probably be okay with that.
And Yura says, okay, I will call in advance if we're running a little late. Thanks for letting me know. Thanks for telling us. So it looks like they're going to have a great time at Taste of India. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of today's lesson. Let's move on now and talk about organizing a guided tour.
4. Organizing a guided tour. Yura wants to visit a museum in Kaohsiung, so she calls to inquire about a guided tour.
Hello, you've reached the Kaohsiung Museum of Fine Arts. How can I help? Hi, I'm in Kaohsiung this weekend and I'd like to visit the museum. I wanted to ask if you offer guided tours in English, and if so, how to go about booking one.
Yes, we offer regular guided tours in English. Reservations are needed for groups of more than 15 people. Otherwise, you don't need to make a reservation. You can just come to the front desk in the reception area and sign up for a tour.
I see. That sounds pretty easy. And what are your opening hours?
We're open from 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Tuesday through Sunday.
Fantastic. I'll come by on Sunday morning.
第二部分我们看到片语 sign up， 指报名参加活动或是课程。例如 If you don't sign up for the class trip, you won't be able to go. 如果你不报名参加班游，你就没办法去了。或是 I'm going to sign up for dance classes next week. 我下星期要去报名舞蹈课。另外补充另外一个含有 sign 在内的片语 sign off， S-I-G-N 空格 O-F-F sign off， 意思是同意或是核准。我们可以说 Henry needs the CEO to sign off on getting new equipment for the factory. Henry 需要执行长签合以添购新的工厂设备。也可以说 My boss signed off on the project I pitched to him. 我老板核准了我向他推荐的计划。最后我们看到单字 fantastic， 这个字是形容词，指极好的、了不起的或是极大的。像是 The cottage has a fantastic view of the river. 这间小屋有极美丽的河景景观。或是 After launching the new product, the company made a fantastic amount of money. 在推出这项新产品后，这家公司赚了很大一笔钱。另外，把 fantastic 字尾的 tic 去掉，改成 y， 就变成了名词 fantasy， 表示幻想或是憧憬。举例来说 Vera has fantasies about being a member of the royal family. Vera 幻想自己是皇室的一员。或者 Nora has a fantasy of living in a big house by the sea. Nora 幻想住在海边的大房子。
All right, everybody, let's talk about the conversation, part 4, organizing a guided tour. Sometimes, of course, people like to travel independently and pick out their own places to go to. They establish their own itinerary. But sometimes, of course, it's just a lot easier to be part of a tour. It could be a tour to various places in a certain location, or it could be a tour in an actual museum, and that's what's happening here. Yura wants to visit a museum in Kaohsiung, so she calls to inquire about a guided tour. She's going to ask about a guided tour.
That's right. If you're inquiring, you're asking, especially asking for more information. That's the kind of thing you want to know to help you make better decisions. So she has some questions about the guided tours. So that's a good idea to call. And as she calls, the receptionist, we can see there, answers the phone in any large business, organization, institution, something like that. Often the first person you'll see when you walk in the main door, the front doors, or the person who answers the phone will be the receptionist. They basically guide visitors to the place or to the people that they're looking to meet or find. So basically, the receptionist answers the phone, says, "Hello, you've reached the Kaohsiung Museum of Fine Arts. How can I help?" So that's a very good way to basically greet the customer and make them feel comfortable and free in asking for questions or asking for information. So Yura says, "Hi, I'm in Kaohsiung this weekend. I'd like to visit the museum." A simple statement of what she wants to do. And here's her question, or her inquiry, you could also say. "I wanted to ask if you offer guided tours in English, and if so, how to go about booking one." Well, that's a good thing to inquire about, because of course they'll have tours at the museum, but will they have them in English? And how often do they run? How to go about booking one? These are things she wants to set up and prearrange before she gets there and ends up, finding out that the English tours only happen twice a day. You just missed one. You'll have to wait until 3 this afternoon. That would be inconvenient. So yes, call ahead and see how you can organize this.
Yep, guided tours can be quite useful. I remember when my parents came to Taiwan to visit me many years ago, we arranged a guided tour at the National Palace Museum. And of course, I prided myself on being able to check out all the things myself without participating in a guided tour. But hey, I found that guided tour to be quite useful. They took us to all the important pieces and gave us a pretty good explanation. So indeed, it is worthwhile to arrange a guided tour, especially if you don't know the local language. And of course, here they'd like to have a guided tour in English. And indeed, Yura wants to know how she can go about booking one. Well, here's what the receptionist says. She says, yes, we offer regular guided tours in English. Regular means they happen at various times during the day, and reservations are needed for groups of more than 15 people. Otherwise, you don't need to make a reservation. You can just come to the front desk in the reception area and sign up for a tour. So again, you need to make a reservation if there are 15 people in your group, 15 or more. Then you'll need to make a special arrangement. You'll need to make a reservation. That's a lot of people. Otherwise, if you aren't in a group of more than 15 people, then you don't need to make a reservation. Just go to the front desk and talk to the receptionist there.
That's not a bad idea. And let's see what the Yura thinks about this idea. She says, I see, that sounds pretty easy. So now she's had it all explained to her, how to sign up for the tour. Yeah, it doesn't sound difficult. It sounds pretty easy. And here's another great question. What are your opening hours? Of course, this is something she could find out on the internet very easily. But hey, you have the receptionist there on the line. Why not ask them, what are your opening hours? In other words, when does the museum open and close for the day? And the answer would be, we're open from 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. So there you go. Those are the business hours. I guess you could use that term for a museum. The opening hours, you would also say 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Note, and this is also true in Europe and many parts of the world, many museums are closed on Mondays because, of course, they accept visitors. They welcome visitors all through the weekend. So often Mondays are the day when the museum will be closed. And that I found to be quite true in many parts of the world. So when you are planning your museum and other cultural activities, try to avoid museum plans for a Monday unless you check in advance. Yura says, fantastic, wonderful, outstanding, fabulous. You know, this is good news. This all works for me. This all sounds good. I'll come by on Sunday morning. So she will be at the museum for her tour on Sunday morning, and I hope they have a great time.
It sounds like they will have a great time. So again, they're on a tour of Kaohsiung, and she says she's going to come by the museum on Sunday morning to arrange that tour of the museum. I should also mention that museums also offer an audio guide or an audio tour. You don't have to participate with a group. You can actually wear headphones and listen to their audio program. They might give you some kind of MP3 player for that, or maybe you can access something with your smartphone or something like that. And those can be quite useful as well. And if you're listening to the audio tour or the audio program, you can always push the pause button and spend a little time longer looking at the artifact or the painting or the work of art or the sculpture or whatever the case may be. Mike, do you like to participate in guided tours or audio tours?
I find them absolutely fascinating, yeah, especially when it's something like you mentioned, the National Palace Museum, you know, a type of art or culture that in history I don't know much about. I find that these guided tours are great ways of appreciating things much more than you would just walking around the museum reading the signs for yourself. So if you have the time and the interest, I would definitely sign up for a guided tour at almost any museum I would visit.
And I should mention that because Mike and myself do broadcasting work or announcing work, sometimes we will record the audio programs for museums in Taiwan in English. So, hey, if you go to a museum and listen to the audio program in English, you might hear our voices right there. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. It's time now to listen to our Chinese teacher, Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。 在课文第二部分的对话中 Yura 想要参观高雄的一间博物馆，所以他打电话去询问导览。那文中是用到动词 inquire 来表达询问、查询。我们来学习它的字首字根。好，先看到 quest quest 或者是拼作 quer 还有 qui 这些字根呢，表示寻找、询问的意思。那么在 inquire 这个字当中，它的字首 in 表示进入，那么字根 quire 的部分表示询问，进入到里面，进去里面询问，进入其中去寻找答案，这样应该很容易联想到 inquire 它有询问啊、调查或者是打听的语义。我们顺便补充几个有这一类字根的单字。第一个要补充的是 acquire，它的字首 AC 是来自 AD， 在这边是做强调用。那么 acquire 的部分是表达寻找、获得，合在一起 acquire 就可以表达获得啊、得到或者是习得。这通常是指说靠自己的努力逐渐培养去习得、学习到某一种新的技能啊、能力等等。第二个补充的是 require， 它的字首 RE 表示一再，字根 quire 表示求取，一再的求取应该很容易联想到 require 它有那种要求啊、需要的意思。第三个补充的是 conquest， 它的字首 con 表示完全，那么字根 quest 表示寻求。当我们追求的是你要完全去取得所有的事物，寻求对所有人事物那种完全的掌控，用这样的方式也许可以联想到 conquest 它有征服、征战或者是占领的意思咯。好，那么电话另一头的这个接待员就告诉 Yura 说，他们有提供定时英文导览，15个人以上的团体才需要预约，否则是不用预约的哦，只需要到接待处的柜台登记参观。这边它是用到片语 sign up 来表达登记，我们来学习它的不同用法哦。好，第一个就是课文的用法 sign up 表示登记报名，那要表达登记报名参加某个组织啊、课程或是活动时，我们常常会用 sign up for something 来表达，像 I just signed up for yoga classes 就是说我刚报名了瑜伽课程。好，那第二个用法呢，我们可以用 sign somebody up 去表达签约雇用某人，这时候它就相当于 sign somebody on。 举例来说， The record label signed the band up last year， 唱片公司去年签下了那个乐团。好，那么另外 sign somebody up 还可以表达为某人来报名参加，让某人加入某个活动的那种意思。假设有人在向你推销东西，可能是旅游行程啊，或者是什么新的手机自费方案等等，如果你觉得听起来很棒、太完美了，很想要加入，你就可以说 That sounds perfect, sign me up。 好，那么以上就是今天的重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Reservation. Sandy called the restaurant to make a dinner reservation for Saturday night. Inquire. Harold emailed to inquire about the company's refund policy. Otherwise. I hope we haven't missed the bus, otherwise we'll have to call a taxi. Reception. You can wait in the reception area while we prepare your room. Fantastic. You did a great job. These decorations look fantastic. Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Mike.
I am Roger. See you next time.